Hey guys, hey, welcome back for this week's Movember Talk. Last week we went over a couple things. We had some prostate health that we covered, and we also talked about um, some 5 great mustaches in history. This week we got another 5 great mustaches and some more prostate health nutrition that you could do. And coming on in, let me go ahead and bring Mr. Grant Myers in, who is our weekly guest host. And hey there, Mr. Grant, how is it going?
Hey, what's going on, Craigerator? Always great to be here.
Oh yeah, I see the stash is coming in.
That it is. That it is. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. The last 2, 3 weeks here are working in my favor.
Right? If you can see a little bit, mine is under the right lighting, you can see it, but it has to be the right lighting. So I've got some good lighting on me right now. And
It
as you can see, the stash is there.
yes, it looks like it's filling in nicely. Now, I did see you on the street a little earlier today,
Yep.
and I had to ask. I had to have you turn toward the sun
Right. I had
to get
the
that
light.
lighting on.
And that's what I say. I got this light right in front of me, and it's coming down at the proper angle, and it's visible. So it is there. It's just, like I said, it takes me a while. It doesn't grow fast. I still may shave twice a week, maybe once a week. I could get away with once a week, but developing this thing, it's got to be more twice a week, so it stands out a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I'm jealous, man. I gotta shave every other day. I shaved on Friday, and
Yeah,
it's still a little stubbly.
and I showed you a picture of my brother the other day that I think he's 4 or 5 weeks in, and it is a full on growth. He could be Santa Claus. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a pretty thick beard there.
yeah, it was pretty
So I
thick.
think you just need to start keeping your mustache for 2 months long here. You gotta go through the end of the year, Craig.
So you know, it's not as bad just doing the mustache. It's just when you start getting the stuff on the chin that that starts getting itchy. But the mustache hadn't really bothered me much.
That means you got to keep it.
Yeah. So let's see, what do we got here? We've got what have I got coming up? Nothing right there. So just to remind everybody, we've got our QR codes. You can scan these QR codes. Once you scan those codes, it'll take you straight to our Movember account, and you can make a donation, whatever size you would like to make. That is okay by us. Or you can just go and peruse and just kind of look around, if so be it. So I got my QR code there underneath me. Grant has his underneath him. And there you go. You can scan those things. We'll leave them up here for a little bit. And that way you can go and make your donation and help out a little bit. So
And
go ahead, Grant.
I was gonna say, just any little bit counts. Even if you don't want to donate, just go onto the site or go onto one of our pages, and you can learn a lot of great information on there.
That is right. That is right. All right, so we're going to move on to our 5 great mustaches in history. Are you ready for these?
Definitely am.
All right, so we have our 5 great mustaches in history. Uh, and I'm probably saving some of the better mustaches for the end. Okay, so our first one that I'm sure everybody has heard of is Mr. Mark Twain. And as you can see, he's got a pretty substantial stash there that, I don't know, you could probably sweep your garage floor with that thing.
I think it was because of all the whiskey he was drinking that he had to have something to filter it through.
Exactly, exactly. And I think a lot of gentlemen at that time, that era, uh, I think they have some pretty full and thick mustaches.
Yeah, I don't know if you had to crawl down on your lip yet, Craig, but it is to me is the most one of the most annoying feelings I've ever had to have this just is crawling down and it gets in the way of you eating, gets in the way
Yeah.
of you drinking. You gotta wipe it off all the time. So
It,
hey, more
even
power to him.
now, even now when I close my mouth, and kind of press my lips together and it touches the bottom lip. I'm not a big fan of that.
I gotta agree with you. So I don't know how these guys did it. And then back then, right? It's not like
Right?
hygiene was great.
That's true.
Who
That's
knows
true.
the kind of things that were growing around in there?
All right, moving on to number 2, we have Mr. Walter Cronkite. I don't know. Did you ever watch Walter Cronkite? Are you younger than that?
I'm a little bit on the young side. I'm on the very tail end. I knew him as kind of an older, semi-senile type of guy. Like
Okay.
he graduated when I was just becoming aware of like news.
Okay. Okay. I remember
Or
watching him on some of the late night news, and I remember that I was little at the time, but I do remember him. But he definitely has that very unique mustache, very thin, unique type mustache.
almost an Inigo Montoya type of mustache right there.
Almost, almost. All right, number 3 is the great Freddie Mercury, and
Classic.
classic. He's got a very defined, very defined mustache, and I don't ever really recall seeing him without a mustache.
No, no. The only time I remember, well, I guess the most that saw him was in the movie, right? They have him a lot without a mustache in the movie when he was younger.
Right.
But as a big star, when I was aware, he always had the mustache.
Always had the mustache, and I think it's very iconic. You see that look, and you instantly know that's Freddie Mercury. All right. Moving on to number 4 is Wilford Brimley.
Ooh, one of the best ever.
One of the best. And I'm sure, I mean, some of our audience may not even know who this guy is. Uh, and he really stands out for me in the movie Cocoon.
Yes, yes. And fun fact, Craig, how old do you think he was in the movie Cocoon?
He seemed about as old as he is in this picture. Uh, he seemed really old, but I would imagine he was probably only in his 50s.
Yes, yeah. I think he always seemed like he was 80 years old, but he was, I
Right?
believe, 54. 54 in
Really?
that picture.
Yeah, he definitely seemed 70 or 80 in that movie,
Yeah.
which is crazy. But there's also a fun little song that they have done with Wilford Brimley because he did some commercials for diabetes. Do you
I
remember
believe
these commercials?
it's diabetes. Diabetes.
Diabetes. And
Yes.
they did it to the tune of Rock Me Amadeus. So it was diabetes, diabetes, instead of
That's great.
Amadeus, Amadeus. So that one stands out. And anytime I think of cocoon and I think of diabetes. So thanks, Wilford Brimley, for that.
Great man.
Great man. All right. And our last mustache is a very iconic mustache. And it is Mr. Ron Burgundy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I love the Anchorman. I love Anchorman 2. And Ron Burgundy is definitely an icon in the news industry. And he would
I
not be the
feel
same
like
without that mustache.
no, he wouldn't be. He wouldn't be. But I feel like you have to really, I've never had a mustache that bushy before.
No,
It's rather conservative, but
right?
it's still nice and thick.
It's a sign of power, I believe, for him.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. So that was our 5 mustaches and histories. We're going to bring the QR codes back up in case anybody missed them the first time. They can come back through and scan those QR codes. Grant, with the Movember, we've got our prostate awareness, which is why we're doing this whole thing. We ran over a few things last week with some things you can do mentally and physically and health-wise that helps promote that, getting out and exercising. And we talked a little bit about nutrition, but we just barely hit on it, correct?
Right, right. We said a little bit about it, but we didn't really dive into the details.
So this week, I've gone in and I've pulled up a little bit, and we have 5 foods that's going to help protect your prostate. Okay. So we talked about doing the self-checks. We talked about getting out there, getting some exercise. Now, here's some foods that you can eat that will actually help that prostate out without actually having to put it on your prostate.
Probably the best thing about these products.
Right, right. So our first item is cruciferous vegetables. That's an SAT word, by the way, cruciferous.
What is something that's cruciferous?
Cruciferous, it includes things like cabbage, some bok choy, some kale, some cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and broccoli. And they say broccoli is often hailed as the prostate superfood. Did you know?
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
I did not know that. I eat a
yeah.
decent amount of broccoli. I love bok choy.
Yep.
Kale, not a fan of.
Not a fan of
And
kale. I can do some cabbage if it's, done right.
it's okay. It's okay. Brussels sprouts, definitely
Yeah.
not a fan of either.
No. But you're doing vegetables that are high in antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and photochemicals. So there you
Right.
go. Yep. Our next food is berries. How about that? So you got some strawberries, some blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, berries. So all those are pretty good. I can eat all those. My kids love those
Yeah.
berries. They like broccoli. So I think they'll be pretty good.
I can do all the berries. I've never
All the
had a
berries.
thing against berries.
Nope.
Raspberries probably my least favorite, but all the other berries I'm down for.
I can go with that. Raspberries, they're okay, but they're not up there. Strawberries are probably the number one berry if you had to rank the berries.
Yeah.
Yep. Ryan really likes blueberries.
Really? Yeah,
He's a
Parker
big,
likes the strawberries more.
yeah, Ryan's a big blueberry fan. All right. So our next one is fish. So I like me some fish, but usually you hear about some catfish, you hear about some bass, things like that. But the fish that they're looking for is cold water fish like salmon, sardines, and trout. Those that are high in the good fats. Okay,
The
so
HDLs. This makes me feel better about me eating so much sushi.
right, exactly. So that that is some better fat for you. It also says to stay away from red meat. Okay, so we want to stay away from the red meat, and we don't want to go there.
Ah,
I know,
I know
I
this is the
know.
hardest thing about prostate cancer health, man, is I love the red meats.
Right? I do. Now we've switched over to we do more of the ground turkey instead of the ground beef, unless of course we're doing some
Mm.
hamburgers. If we're doing hamburgers, it's got to be the beef. Turkey burgers just don't taste the same. But I do like a
Nope.
good steak. The boys like steak, so that's all good. So yes, so you said I heard you mention the HDLs, and yes, you want to get the fish that are high in the HDLs. All
Absolutely.
right.
High
Yep.
density fats.
Lipoproteins. All right. So cooked tomatoes. How about that? Did you know there was a difference between? There's obviously a difference between, but did you know cooked tomatoes were better for you than raw tomatoes?
No, I've always been under the assumption that if you cook something or steam something, you actually take some of the nutrients out, so they're not quite
Right.
as healthy as raw,
Right.
raw
Because they're always
foods.
talking about raw broccoli, raw carrots, eating those raw vegetables, uh, and getting that fiber in there as well. Uh, which is, if you don't eat enough of the raw vegetables, when you get older, it's harder to eat those raw vegetables because your body doesn't want to process it as much. That's where the
Mm.
indigestion comes from.
Mm.
Yep.
I thought that was just from the all the hot sauce that I put on my food.
That could be it too. Yep. So the cooked tomatoes, yeah, it says it breaks down. Where is it at? It loosens the bond, making it easier for the bodies to access the antioxidants.
Okay,
So
so it's just an easier way to absorb those
makes
tomatoes
it
or
makes it
the
easier for
nutrients
the
in
body
there.
to absorb. Right.
Okay, all
Uh,
right, very cool.
yeah. And The last one is coffee and tea, which really surprised me.
Yeah, that definitely stands out as something completely new that I was not aware of at all. I drink a cup of coffee every morning. Black coffee doesn't have any of the sugar in it, but I
Right?
never ever thought that would be good for my prostate.
Right, exactly. Um, it said 1 to 2 cups a day can help prevent prostate cancer. But you can't do the cream. You can't do, I think it's just black coffee. No cream, no sugar. And so that's looking more promising. So the most important uh, of these antioxidants are called the EGCG. You heard of these?
What is an EGCG? I do not know what an EGCG is.
Uh, it is a very large SAT word. Epi, Epigalactation, something like that.
Sure, why not?
I don't
Okay.
know. It's an carcinogenic. Yeah, there you go. And an
Carcinogen.
no, carcinogenic. There's an IC at the end of that.
Oh, carcinogenic. Yes, I got it. There it
Carcinogenic.
is.
There you go.
Okay.
This always sounds better when somebody else says it.
Yeah. So what is that found in? Is it found in all the things that are on our list here, the top five, or is that specific to a certain product?
That's more in the green teas. The green tea has those antioxidants that you're really looking for. So they're saying that green tea is healthier for you, but the coffee is in that list as well, looking more and more promising. So I guess they're doing more research on the coffee. How about that? Uh, so yeah, I said on top of the list of what not to do is sugar. Stay away from the sugar and as you know that processed sugar and all that stuff. We know that's bad for you. And there's other. They're saying I guess uh, with ADHD and things like that, if you change your sugar content, that there's a possibility of helping out your ADHD and some other things like that. And it really just makes you feel better. So I've never gone to cut out all the sugar. I haven't really tried, but I like my sugar. I try not to do too much of it. I try to,
It's really hard. It's really hard to
everything in
do.
moderation. Yep.
I agree. I've cut out the sugars once. We did the whole 30, I don't know, a couple years back or something. And on that diet, you were supposed to cut out all the sugars, and that was the hardest part about that diet.
Yeah.
You can't buy anything without sugar in it.
This is true. Everything's sugar. Everything's processed. It makes it hard to be healthy.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add one more extra thing on here. I know we're talking about nutrition and prostate health, and I like how we got the natural foods on there. But there's also a way that you can supplement if you take some different herbs, also good for your prostate. So anything that has a plant sterol. So I take this beta cytosterol. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm not plugging any sort of brands. I'm just saying that is a plant sterol. So the most common would be a saw palmetto. If you buy something with saw palmetto in it, if you see a plant sterol, then that supplementation is also going to be great for your prostate health.
Well, how about that? All righty. Yep, and it said you covered the taking your supplements and getting those in, doing your self checks, getting out and exercise, spending time with your family, just getting out and being active, eating healthy, being active, take your supplements, grow your mustache, bring awareness, talk to other guys about it. Anything else that we're leaving out?
Make sure everyone's in there.
Everybody's
No, I think that's. I mean, if you're able to follow these guidelines, I think
Right.
we're going to be able to change the world, Craig.
one live stream at a time, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. All righty. So that's really about all I got there, Mr. Grant. Is there anything else you wanted to add in before we head on out of here?
I just wanted to give a shout out to my coworkers. I'm going to show you guys a picture. So on Friday, they had they were recognizing Movember. So I got myself to grow the mustache. We talked about Dr. Teetsy. He's the medical director there at the clinic. He's growing a mustache. Dr. Wells is our joint preservation surgeon. He was growing a mustache. So we all got together in the whole clinic, wore mustaches for the day, so we could bring awareness. So we were able to talk to our patients, and a lot of them had questions as to why we were wearing mustaches on our face mask.
Very
So
nice.
I thought it was a great thing. My friend Angie Frady, she organized the whole thing. So it was a great show of support for the whole crew there at UT Southwestern.
Well, very nice. And I saw that Elizabeth had a mask. She was bragging that her mustache was thicker than mine with her mask on the other day.
She did. It was a low blow, Craig. It was a low blow.
It was, but I'll take it. That's fine. I've actually had people at school actually notice that I had the mustache this week. So even under my mask, when I take it out to take a drink, not take it out, but I'll pull the mask down and they're able to see it. So hey, that's a plus for me.
Definitely good. So wait, are we getting compliments when they see it, or are they just confused by the whole situation?
They're just like, hey, what's this going on right here? So, but that brings awareness. My neighbor across the street has asked. He goes, hey, I see the mustache there. So we've brought up some conversation of what we're doing and plugging the stream, and hopefully we're getting some awareness out there.
All right, man. This is good. This is what it's all about.
Yep. All righty. Well, I believe we've got one more stream left in the month of November, correct?
Yes, sir. One more finale.
Right after Thanksgiving, and we'll be here at 3 o'clock on Saturday to go over our last little bit. We'll catch the last five, our top five mustaches, and you may have seen your top five already come through, but we're trying to give everybody some exposure on their mustaches. So we'll bring up some more nutrition and health things that you can do, and our last five of our prostate, or not our prostate, I'm sorry, our last five of our great mustaches.
Yes, please. Top five mustaches, not top five prostates. I don't know much about this.
I want to see the top five prostates. That is not on my list anywhere.
No, thank you.
Yep. All right. Well, Grant, I thank you for coming by, and we will talk with you again next week.
Always a great time, Craig. I'll see you then.
See ya.